Welcome in. This is Chiefs Chase. My name is Mike Bassano, and thank you so much for joining me as the Kansas City Chiefs are 2-3.
That ball's knocked out. Kansas City's got it.
The Chiefs lose to the Jags tonight, 31-28 on a last-second touchdown run by Trevor Lawrence that was absolutely devastating, not only because it did happen, because of how it happened. And we'll get into a lot to do with this game, everything else as we get here into the Chiefs Chase post-game show. But we got to start with some bigger picture things. First and foremost, there's still a lot left for this team. I know 2-3, it's frustrating, especially because of how 2-3 has happened. It's sloppy play, losing one-score games where you feel like the Chiefs were the better team. The Chiefs outplayed the Jags, but it's still, there's a lot of room for this team to be as good as they could possibly imagine being. The Chiefs have to rebound against Detroit, but the fact is the Kansas City Chiefs could still very easily go 11-6, get into the playoffs, and with a team with a playoff pedigree like the Chiefs, there's no reason why you wouldn't expect them to be able to make a run in the playoffs like they've done before. The 2023 season, they won the Super Bowl. They had to go through Buffalo and through Baltimore to get there. So don't sit there and make it feel like the Chiefs can't get it done unless they're the number one seed. And oh, by the way, the number one seed's still completely up for grabs. There's no undefeated team left in the entire NFL. So it's not like the Chiefs are having this tough start while everyone else is dominating. Everyone's sloppy. Everyone's losing. The Chiefs are very much in the mix. I'm not sitting here trying to blow smoke up anybody's backside when I tell you that the Kansas City Chiefs still have everything on the table they could possibly want for this season, including a chance to win the Super Bowl. The Chiefs are still one of the top teams in the NFL, despite being sub-500 after some screwy games. They've had 3 losses in one-score games. It's a total polar opposite of what 2024 was, and some of it is, in fact, bad luck, just like some of last year was good luck. That's how football works, man. And right now, the Chiefs are playing football with a little bit of bad luck. Situations where they played well. On the final drive against the Jags, Jalen Watson on a 3rd and long had a chance to knock the ball away. In great position to do it. He just missed it. Huge completion by the Jags set it up for their touchdown to win the game. There's a lot to get to at this game. We'll get into the nitty-gritty of everything, but sticking with some of the full, bigger picture stuff from it, the referees kept the game close early. And when the Chiefs started to roar back, they started to make Chiefs calls. It felt very odd to watch the referees really dictate the flow of this game because any team that started to get momentum, whether it was the Jags or the Chiefs, suddenly the calls would inexplicably go against them. The Chiefs had an insane amount of penalties, and ESPN didn't even show half of them. I'm not saying the game's rigged, but I'm saying there's something screwy going on when your primetime games are actively kept close by which team happens to be starting to gain the momentum. Suddenly, Chiefs get momentum, calls go against them. Jags get momentum, calls go against them. Very strange game, and I will say this as well. The broadcasters lamenting every call that they think the Chiefs get while completely disregarding every call that the Jags got was absolutely disgusting. Joe Buck and Troy Aikman, and especially you, Troy, should be absolutely disgusted with themselves and embarrassed by the lack of decorum and the lack of any fairness they had in their broadcast. An absolute disaster by ESPN. But what if we come to expect from that network nothing less than absolute trash, which is what we got on Monday Night Football. It was very odd to watch the referees switch sides based on who was carrying momentum to keep the game close. And then at that point, it comes down to who makes the big play at the end. But when the Chiefs had all the momentum early, they should have gotten a PI against Hollywood Brown. There's countless situations where the Chiefs started to run away with that game early, and the referees made a point to keep the Jags in it. That happened. And then later, the Chiefs got some calls when the Jags started to run away with it. So it's not a favor in one team or the other. It's trying to get the ratings. I mean, when it's so blatant like that, it's hard for me not to look at it and go, they're keeping the game close. I don't think they're rigging it for one team or another, but they're keeping it close for ratings. Blowouts in prime time are bad for everyone. So it looked as if the referees were trying to keep that thing close. You got to call it like you see it. And the Chiefs could have and should have blown out the Jaguars. But when they had all the momentum early, when they were cruising every single drive against the Jags, suddenly a bunch of penalties just start getting called on the Kansas City Chiefs. A bunch of penalties ESPN didn't even show. So are they rigging the game for one team or another? No, but the calls very conveniently kept each team from not gaining too much momentum. That's a fact. We all saw it. Now, the good news here for the Kansas City Chiefs going forward, one more big picture topic before we dive into the kind of the performances of this game and what happened in this game with the Jags. One more big picture discussion. The good news, nobody in the NFL is doing Nobody in the NFL is running away with this thing. Every team is flawed. Every team is playing poorly at times, and every team in the entire league has lost. We're only through week 5. So there is no dominating factor in the NFL. There is still plenty of room for every team, including the Kansas City Chiefs, to make a run and get right back into the thick of things and get right back in the conversation for even the number 1 seed. Because nobody's grabbing it right now. Everyone is flawed. Everyone's having great games. Everyone's having terrible games. When you have a league with this much parity, where it's this hard to separate from the pack, it keeps you in it. And that's who the Chiefs are right now. They're a team that's still in this thing if they can get it turned around. But it has to happen now. You can't start dropping games to the Lions or, heaven forbid, the Raiders. Then you got to go play the Bills. I mean, you have to turn it around now. There is a certain urgency. Patrick Mahomes said after the game, we've lost too many games already. He's right. The Chiefs have to turn things around on a dime, and they have to go dominate. Clearly, you can't leave it in the hands of the officials. It's not good enough for that. You have to dominate. So these one-score wins, clearly they're not happening for Kansas City this year, so you have to go out and win by multiple scores. You can't leave any doubt, and that means crisp play. No more sloppiness, no more drop passes, no more miscues. It means crisp play top to bottom, because clearly the NFL is not going to do you any favors, and they're going to do everything they can to try to elevate other teams against you. That's become obvious through the first 5 weeks of the NFL season. So you must leave no doubt and dominate. That is the only option the Chiefs have, and they have to start now. Now let's get into this game. The Chiefs lose 31-28.
Goal with 30 seconds left. Now Lawrence goes down, has to get up. Breaks a tackle. Touchdown, Jackson.
In a game that it felt like the Chiefs outplayed the Jags in every single facet other than special teams. The Jags were phenomenal in special teams. The Chiefs' special teams against the Jaguars was one of the worst I've ever seen. There's 4 penalties on the special teams. Harrison Butker kicking the ball out of bounds to start the final drive. The Chiefs have the lead by 4 points. There's 1:45 left on the clock. The Jags have 2 timeouts. The one thing you can't do is kick the ball out of bounds. And then on top of that, Harrison Butker has had a big mistake in every single game this year. Now, 5 games. 5 bad plays by Harrison Butker. No other team has a kicker like this, guys. I understand we've talked a lot about Harrison. We've talked a lot about what he's done for this team, about how incredibly important he is to this team. Everything that he gets done, all of it. We've discussed all of it. But the fact is, you got to start to worry about it now. I mean, geez, man, the guy didn't even have to kick a field goal tonight, and he still screwed it. Right? I mean, I'm sorry. I like Harrison. I've always liked Harrison. I've stuck up for Harrison through 4 weeks. But all you had to do was kick the ball off, man. This isn't even a field goal. There's no excuse. So that's a frustration. Obviously, a huge frustration with the defensive line is Trevor Lawrence on his touchdown run. He fell down. He got back up. Or actually, what happened was Trevor fell, then he tried to get back up, and he fell again. And somehow, nobody on the Chiefs team can touch him. He gets up, runs ball in for a touchdown. That's just one of those screwy things, man, where sometimes the football gods decide to frown on you, or they decide to smile on Trevor Lawrence. And frankly, the football gods have been frowning on Trevor Lawrence for quite some time. So it is at least apropos that the gods would smile on Trevor Lawrence tonight when he has a game where he has to win it for the legitimacy of the Jaguars this year, and they can beat the Kansas City Chiefs for the first time since 2009. So at least that part of it makes some sense. Let's get to some positives.
From the 2, Hunt in for the touchdown.
Because there are positives. Kareem Hunt had a phenomenal game. Had one run that was really kind of a difference maker in every single facet in a game a type of run that we haven't seen from him in a very long time, that started off that 97-yard touchdown drive that took 5 plays. Awesome run by Kareem Hunt. He had the stiff arm. He got to the sideline. It was everything. And he had 2 touchdowns in short yardage situations. On that final drive for the Chiefs offense, or I guess the second to final drive, the last scoring drive for the Chiefs offense, we were on the live on TikTok. If you joined me on that, thank you. We had a lot of fun. Wish the game would have ended differently, but we had fun. In that moment where they hand the ball off to Kareem Hunt, I was like, do it 4 times. And they did it twice. On the second time, Kareem Hunt got in. That's why you have him on the roster, so that he can make those kind of plays. You have Kareem Hunt because he's the kind of guy that if you give him the ball in the short yardage, he's going to be great. And he did that tonight. He was awesome in short yardage. He had a big run in the early goings of that 95-yard touchdown drive. I mean, the Chiefs' offense early on was humming. So what changed? The Jags adjusted. First, the momentum got stopped on a dime by the freaking referees. And then the Jags adjusted. They were playing a single high safety in the early goings of the game, so Mahomes could uncork it, throw it deep. It gave them a lot of things to go to. Then they went to a shell coverage with 2 safeties deep, taking away the deep ball. And as we know with Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs, when you take away the deep ball, it becomes a lot harder for the offense. What they need is the ability to stretch the field better. But Xavier Worthy with his ankle, it just wasn't happening tonight. You could see him favoring it the entire night. And when he got it tweaked, it looked incredibly painful. It looks like a sprained ankle for him, and that stinks. Terrible time for a sprained ankle. Terrible time, especially because Rashee Rice isn't back yet. Nobody has worse luck than Patrick Mahomes when it comes to his wide receivers getting suspended or injured. Last year, Rashee Rice goes down for the year. Hollywood Brown's out for most of the year. This year, Rashee Rice is suspended until week 7, and we have Xavier Worthy with a clear, significant ankle sprain. And that's incredibly disheartening for Patrick Mahomes, because every year he's got to deal with this, significant injuries to his wide receiver core. And when they're healthy, yeah, he's great, but that's the thing, man. You have to have guys to throw to. And Patrick Mahomes, more and more, they have to find guys. They have to find Tyquan Thornton instead of having their star wide receivers available. And that sucks for Patrick Mahomes. Let's get to Travis Kelce. He had a nice game. Travis Kelce played well. 7 receptions, 61 yards, and a touchdown. And that touchdown, that wasn't pass interference. I don't know why nobody knows the rule book, including Troy. They said there was a missed call in that defensive pass and the interception for McDuffie. I'll get to that next. But the touchdown for Travis Kelce, the reason it wasn't a pass interference is because you were allowed to pick the defender within 1 yard of the line of scrimmage. Juju Smith-Schuster was within 1 yard of the line of scrimmage when he set the pick. Easy touchdown, Travis Kelce. That's why they picked up the flag. And that's also why you saw Juju and Patrick go to the lines judge and hold up a 1, having to explain to the NFL official what the rule is, because the NFL officials clearly have no freaking idea what any rules are. Pathetic league, man. Pathetic league. Seriously. Your lines judge doesn't know how pass interference works? That's your league, bro? And on the no call on the Trent McDuffie Jalen Hicks is allowed to run to the guy he's covering. Just because your wide receiver slams into him and falls on his back, that doesn't make it a pass interference. So what everyone's trying to do is what they did last year, trying to stick the Chiefs in this category where they're getting helped by the officials while they get 13 penalties in the game, half of which ESPN won't even show us. But we're supposed to sit back and just go, yeah, no, the Chiefs are getting calls. Like, it's such a pathetic narrative, and everyone won't let it go because it's the only thing in their lives that gives them meaning. To feel like, yeah, the Chiefs are the evil empire. We got to fight against them. It's the saddest, most pathetic existence you could ever imagine, and 31 NFL fan bases are living it. I'm pissed. I am. I'm pissed. Because it's a game the Chiefs should have had a better shot. Like, they should have won. They should have ran away with it. Up 14-0, cruising, and suddenly flag. Anytime anything good happened for the Chiefs, flag. The only time they didn't throw the flag was on the McDuffie interception, which wasn't pass interference, because Jaden Hicks allowed, here's the rule. Here's what it says in the rule book that clearly no one's reading. He's allowed to run to his spot. If he were to veer from the line he took initially to the sideline to get in the way of the wide receiver intentionally, it's pass interference. He didn't do that. He ran a straight line. Receiver ran into him, fell over, flopping like he was Josh Allen, and they ended up having a no call. It was a correct no call. Of course, Troy Aikman and Joe Buck don't know what a rule book is? Well, they're too busy counting the money they didn't earn. What? Troy got it because Emmitt Smith was his running back, and Joe got it because of his dad. So they're too busy counting the money they didn't earn to actually read a rule book and understand how that play works. Somebody send this to Troy Aikman. He wouldn't watch it. He wouldn't. Wouldn't for a second. Let's get to Patrick Mahomes on the game. We have some wide receivers we need to point out. One wide receiver in particular I need to point out who had a great game and I think is showing up as a real bright spot for this team. I'll tell you who that is coming up in just a second. But first, Mahomes, 29 for 41, 318 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. He also was the leading rusher for the Chiefs again. The leader of the running back committee is Patrick Mahomes. 6 carries, 60 yards, and a touchdown. He had a great game other than the interception to Lloyd. And frankly, the interception to Lloyd was a great play by Lloyd. You have to give credit where it's due. Lloyd faked like he was going to blitz, even made a one-step jab step towards Mahomes, making it look like he was going to blitz, dropped back and sprinted to his spot. Mahomes throws the slant pass to Juju, and Lloyd catches it in stride, tears off toward the end zone. An unbelievably athletic play by a big-time defensive player in the NFL. As frustrating as it is to have an inside the 5 interception, you have to give credit to Lloyd for making a phenomenal play. And outside of that one mistake, Patrick Mahomes was outstanding in Jacksonville. He looked really confident in the first half. I don't know what happened. Now, as soon as that Hollywood Brown pass interference wasn't called in the beginning of the third quarter, you felt Mahomes get a little bit less confident. I don't know. But his confidence through the second half of the Giants game, through the first half of the Jags game, best we've seen it. For 8 quarters, best we've seen it. And he had a really nice drive at the end of the game, too. That was a great drive by everybody to get the touchdown, the final touchdown the Chiefs got. That was a phenomenal drive, Patrick Mahomes included. He looked confident there, too. It just stinks when you have something going so well and it just doesn't work out in the end for whatever reason. Harrison Butker, Chamari Connor, Jalen Watson. I mean, the list goes on of people who you can blame for that final drive for the Jags. I mean, the list is long. But let's get to the wide receiver. I want to get to Xavier here in a bit, but let's get to the wide receiver who's showing out. Hollywood Brown.
They fake it to Pacheco. Pressure on Mahomes. And did Brown get both feet down? He did.
Huge catch on the sideline in that final touchdown drive, and he really played a great game. 4 catches, 48 yards. A solid bright spot for the Kansas City Chiefs, and a guy that I think is really coming into his own as a really good wide receiver for this team. He's not going to be the number one guy and probably not even the number two, but as a number three, yeah, Hollywood Brown's big time. He's a big time player. He has a lot left in the tank, and I think he's growing into his chemistry with Patrick Mahomes very well this season. He looked great. Now let's get to Xavier Worthy. He had 6 receptions for 42 yards, 1 carry for 9 yards. So, guy's sitting at 51 yards total. His ankle isn't right. Poor guy. I mean, seriously, starts off the season with a freak injury. That dislocated shoulder, that's a freak injury. It's a freak sloppy play injury that's mostly Travis's fault, but also, Xavier has to be careful with his head on a swivel going over the middle and at least somewhat see it coming, right? But unfortunately, it's just an unfortunate accident. So to have that happen for a guy who really had a chance to do so many great things for the Chiefs this year, and now he's got a bum ankle, he got a bum shoulder and a bum ankle. It's a tough sophomore season for Xavier Worthy. No matter what way you cut it, it's just a tough sophomore season. It's a tough way for it to start. It's a tough way for it to go for him. And I feel bad. He's a heck of a football player. He's getting unlucky. And sometimes it feels like the Chiefs are getting unlucky. And this year, it's felt like that a lot. To the defensive side, Nick Bolton, huge play on the goal line to knock the ball away as Trevor Lawrence tried to stick the ball over into the end zone. Huge play by Nick Bolton. Absolutely spectacular. And I'm proud of him. He had a lot of nice plays today. The dropped interception between he and Drew Tranquill was the Three Stooges. It was the other Three Stooges play. He had 2 plays that were like watching the circus. And it was the Trevor Lawrence final touchdown run where he falls down again, gets up, no one touches him, and he gets into the end zone. And then an easy interception ball that somehow Nick Bolton didn't catch. Drew Tranquill couldn't catch it. It ends up incomplete. The Jags continue that drive and score a touchdown. Disaster. Disaster for the Chiefs. But other than that one play, that's the thing. Really, the Chiefs had a couple of big mistakes, but otherwise played a fairly good game. It was just the big mistakes happened in the worst possible moments, and that was the tail of it. What changes the game on a dime? Dropping an easy give me an interception and then having that drive become a touchdown? That flips the game on a dime. Throwing an interception on 2nd and goal inside the 5, that flips the game on the dime, especially when it's returned for a touchdown. Having 1:45 left in Jags with 2 timeouts, you have to pin them and get good field position. Your kicker kicks it out of bounds, puts them at the 40. Terrible time to have a Harrison Butker mistake. So that's the story of this game. It's a few mistakes at really inopportune times for a team that's better than the Jags. So we sit here in this situation. I think I'm calming a little bit, which is nice. We're in this situation where really it happens every game. Every loss the Chiefs have had, I can point to 1 or 2 mistakes where it's like, hey, if you guys played sharper football, that wouldn't happen. Don't kick the ball out of bounds. When you have the ball fall to you with a gift interception, catch it. Against the Eagles, Travis, ball pops off his hands. Get your head around, run your route with urgency, especially because of the amount of time Mahomes doesn't have. And Travis had issue getting around on that tonight, too. Flip the hips, man. Let's go. And, that interception against the Philadelphia Eagles, the Chargers, God, I could flip any one of 5 plays against the Chargers with that sloppy game. You can flip any one of 5 plays. Chiefs beat the Chargers. If Chris Jones maintains containment on 3rd and long on Justin Herbert, Chiefs get the ball back, probably win that game. Every game, and I guess that's how 1-score games work in the NFL. But to have the Chiefs have it go the wrong way in all 3 1-score games, this is one of the best teams at winning 1-score games. This is one of the best teams when the game's close, they pull it out. I'll ask the question, and you might hate me for this question, and that's fine, but I have to ask the question. Did the Eagles break the Chiefs in the Super Bowl? Because that confidence they used to have when it came to winning those 1-score games, it's gone. That ability for the defense to lock it down, win the games on the line, it's gone. What happened? Because just in the AFC Championship game of last year, they had it. And now it's gone. I hate asking that question, but I think it's a legitimate one. Did the Super Bowl last year, did that break the Chiefs' confidence when it came to close games, when it came to believing that no matter what happens, we're the team that's going to come out on top? Did it break that? It's a legitimate question, and I think a very fair one at this point. Chamari Connor
floats it, end zone, and
I don't think he's somebody who should be your outside cornerback when the game's on the line. Chamari Connor's a fine fourth or fifth corner. He's too high on the depth chart. But they don't have anybody else. It's what happens when all your good players leave. Because you can't afford to keep them. Put L'Jarius Sneed on this team. Chiefs win. Put Justin Reed on this team. You know, when your good players have to leave because you can't afford to keep them, this is what happens. Chamari Connor's getting a terrible defensive pass interference. And he didn't even know he did it. He was celebrating at midfield after the Cook interception like we won the game. Bro, you never turned around. You wrapped up the wide receiver. The flag was instantly thrown, and it was a flag that they had to throw. I think there were a lot of bad flags on the Chiefs tonight. The flag on Chamari Connor was about as fair a flag as you'll ever. If the referee doesn't throw that flag, then all the people saying the game's rigged for the Chiefs, they'd be right. Because that's a flag you see 100% of the time. And Chamari Connor didn't even know it happened. That's a lack of awareness on every single level. And one that has to be looked into. So Chamari Connor, I think he's a good player. He's just too high on the depth chart. You know what I mean? It's like if, I don't know, let's say Juju Smith-Schuster was your only number one wide receiver. Well, then, yeah, you would be like, oh, no. Juju Smith-Schuster's a really good player. He's just not a number one. Same thing with Chamari Connor. It's similar. I think Juju's better than Chamari, but you get my point, right? He's not a bad player. He deserves to be in the NFL. He's just too high on the Chiefs' depth chart. Two more guys to get to on the defensive side of the ball. Jalen Watson had a bit of a tough day. The PI that he got was ticky-tack, but it was also something he didn't have to do. He tried to make up for getting beat. Trevor Lawrence made a bad pass. There was no way it was going to be caught, and he ran into the back of the legs of the wide receiver and got a flag that kept the drive going that ended up in a touchdown. It was a disaster for Jalen Watson. And then on the final drive, Jalen Watson's that deep ball on the right side, he's there step for step, reach up and knock it down. He somehow misjudges the ball, couldn't get it, and it's caught for a monstrous gain on 3rd and long. That would have been the end of the game, man. That would have been it. They would have had a 4th and long desperation play. That would have been the only thing the Jags had left had Jalen Watson made the play that was right there for him. So tough night for Jalen Watson, too. One guy who played really well, Leo Chenal. They put him, I think that this was, when they look back at the game tape and they say, what happened? They let Trevor Lawrence run around all day. You can't let Trevor Lawrence run around. He's not a good pocket quarterback. He's not a good overall quarterback. But if Trevor Lawrence gets outside and he's able to run and throw, he is significantly better. And that's what he was able to do all night until they put Leo Chenal on him as a spy in the final drive. And the Chiefs' defense in the final drive was in position to win that game. Spags did everything he could. Jalen Watson couldn't knock the ball down. Chamari Connor, bad penalty. Somehow, after Trevor Lawrence falls twice, the Chiefs' defensive line still can't get to him. So that's not on Spags. That's on people not executing on very specific plays that they're supposed to execute. So Leo Chenal put as a spy on that final drive was a great move by Steve Spagnuolo, and it would have shut down the Jags had everyone else done even a little bit their job. But as I said at the beginning of the show, still a lot left for this team. They just got to get it figured out. They got to get it figured out fast. We'll be here for the midweek blitz. We'll probably be a lot happier and more fired up then. It's just hard. It's hard when you see a team. The Chiefs are better than the Chargers. The Chiefs are better than the Jags. The Eagles, I don't know. Maybe. I feel like they probably are. At least at home, they should be. So when you see a team that's losing to teams that are better than them, you worry, what are they going to do when they see a team that they're worse than? And the Lions might be better than them. The Bills might be better than them. They're both coming up in the next 3 weeks, guys. The next 3 games. Lions, Raiders, Bills. It doesn't get easier. And that's why it's frustrating. They had to get to 3-3 before Rashee Rice came back. That's what we've talked about that from the beginning of the season. If you're 3-3 by week 7, you're good. Well, they're 2-3 right now. Got to beat the Lions. Got to beat the Lions. Because 2-4, when Rashee Rice comes back, you're already decimated psychologically as a team by the time you get your number 1 wide receiver back. It's not good. So this is a must win. I have to call it that because I said 3-3 is the mark. If you can be 3-3 by the time you get Rashee Rice back, then you're good. And I've said that all season. So that makes this game against the Detroit Lions a must win for Kansas City. And we'll get to that more on the midweek blitz this Wednesday. Or actually, it's Monday, so we'll do it Thursday. All right, thank you so much for listening. This has been Chiefs Chase. The Chiefs lose to the Jags 21-38, and they now sit at 2-3. Have a great rest of your week, and have a great night.